I really believe the driving force behind what we do is passion, dedication, and the love and the belief in what we're doing.
Yes, exclusive weddings and events is extremely proud to be the host of Karen and Nature for the first African Flower Experience Masterclass here in our beautiful Mother's. We thank all the international attendees to fly in from near and far to be with us. The masterclass is about sharing the joy and the techniques of acceleration and our passion to bring beauty and love to the world, and it's about sharing experiences and be inspired by people like Karen, who is one of the 11 speakers of this conference, who all share some of their personal or industry activities.
Walk away and look back at this room. I'm very proud at what the attendee has created. They created such beauty in this room that is undeniable.
So that was broadcasted. This was very unexpected that we received after it was broadcasted several requirements from florists where they could get these flowers, and at that point I just wanted to recommend them where they could get it, but the problem was that they had no permits. So we just tried to support them and help them in a very special colleague like a way for colleagues. So we said, okay, we still have our valid permits and we can bring these flowers in for you. And to make a long story short, within 4 weeks, we had about 10 clients. They wanted to buy flowers from us, and we said, wow, we might actually have to look into this a bit deeper to see what we can do. And we decided then, after researching a bit more, that okay, there is a demand for special type of flowers, in particular for high quality flowers, that we decided, okay, let's just do something and let's start a new type of business. We import flowers. And that was a very challenging path, honestly saying. I remember there was rose farms in Kenya. When we asked to represent them, they said, where you want to sell them? In Europe, we are already sorted. And we said, no, we want to sell them in Africa. And they said, what? In Africa? Nobody actually has asked us before. I mean, like, do you really see a market for that? And we said, yeah, we see a market for this. And like, also remembering my first shipment from Holland, it was 20 kilogram, and I can say everyone said to me, this is a bit financial suicide. You have to pay for 100 kilogram and just add more flowers. And I said, no, I can't, because we do not have the possibility to add more flowers. So yeah, it was a bit a very rough and tough road, and it took me about 1.5 years to establish the Holland flowers here in South Africa, and to get to a ton and more flowers to come. And that was the start actually of our company, and that's why we have two lines. We have events as a company, and we have flowers as a company, and we strictly separate that, not to step on own clients too. So we have the trade and we have the event company.
And that maybe is now linking to your question, like who are our clients? So we have we are wholesalers. So obviously, we directly import into South Africa, but we also export into other African countries.
Yeah.
So we have a wholesale base who are basically our agents and are selling stuff on our behalf as well. And then we have a whole client base that is mainly event florist, which right now in the season that we are in is changing a little bit because event floristry is just something that is not possible right now here in South Africa. We are still in lockdown stage 3 out of 5, and we are working our way downwards. So we have another 2 stages, and we still do not know how long stage 3 is going to last. And we have seen a fair shift of what is happening in the flower world right now for South Africa and actually also for some other African countries. There's more so-called flower shops that have emerged just to the pure necessity because there are no events. I would say 95% of the events that were scheduled this year have been postponed to 2021.
Yeah, and this is very important for our business. Yeah, it's devastating actually because from like March until December there will be no big events taking place, and that's really a very challenging time for the most of our florists because 90% of our florists are event florists. We do not have a culture like in Europe. We have a lot of shops around where you can go, and on each corner you find a little flower shop. This is just not the situation here.
And since the beginning of June, the government allowed online sales. So that was actually the first breakthrough for event florists before, to just like basically open up a online flower page to just put on some bouquets there and maybe some home deliveries that they do, and that shaped like the situation that we are right now in.
Because we had 2 months without any flower, no flower nowhere, no local flowers, no imported flowers. So there was just a total shutdown.
Yes, so no, even the local growers were not allowed to sell, which is of course like a real tragedy. But this is the situation that we were facing, or we are still facing. It is difficult because a lot of, florists are small, medium-sized businesses. There are no big, huge event florist companies around. So the situation that they find themselves in is rather difficult. And obviously it comes back to us because when there's no events, there's no huge flower demand. We obviously all try to do in the situation what we can, but obviously it has affected everyone in the chain, from the grower down to the florist and to the public, because we feel that flowers are essential for people's well-being, and we have started a petition also during lockdown that went to the government to really address that we have growers, we have farmers, we have people that also need to make a living with flowers, and on the other side we have people that are just staying much longer at home now during lockdown, and they need flowers. And obviously we want to be also the people who bring happiness to people's living rooms, to their kitchen tables, and to just look at something pretty and beautiful while the situation outside is rather difficult.
Yeah, and maybe just to add that we've been very lucky that we have made a year ago a little bit a more strategic decision to offer dried and preserved flowers. And just the day before lockdown, we've got actually a big shipment, and we were very sad actually at the time what to do with it. And this is now something that comes to our favor, honestly, because at the time, say it again.
I mean, that was a great luck. So you even didn't know that it is going to happen. I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And just like at the time when we are allowed, or we were allowed to open the shops, but there was just no flights. So we could not even import. So the dried flowers actually saved our life during the time until we could get flights. Right now still is not back to a certain kind of normality. Is very limited, but nonetheless. And interesting enough, the dried flowers became very popular, and even we are producing now here in South Africa dried flowers with one company. We partnered up with a farm and a company. They bleach and color and dry our flowers, and this is already now like since 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We are also exporting these flowers. We have exported to Tanzania some. We have exported to Botswana, and we are going to export to Namibia. It's very interesting. Yeah. What route we are going.
Okay, this is really incredible. I mean, and you've started speaking that there are the online shows that have online sales that have opened. So, did market manage to adapt to this new change? Does it change the market itself? Maybe the prices? Maybe it limited the offering. So, how it actually influenced the flower industry?
Yeah, maybe we need to start with online sales. Online sales generally is not huge in Africa yet, not as common as maybe in Europe or in other parts of the Western world, specifically for the trade, for the flower trade. We were actually the first company. I call it in Africa because I know for a fact that's the truth. We were the first company in Africa who offered online sales of flowers
out of a need, actually, out of the need, because
for businesses.
Yeah, it came so
because we were coming from the event side, and we didn't have a huge warehouse or a cold room and storage facilities to actually make sure to have like a wholesale place, even in like physically. So we said, okay, the only way how we can actually logistically manage to get flowers are fresh from the farm, wherever they are in the world, and distribute them directly to the clients.
Which is actually a unique concept. So we created out of a necessary like situation, we created a concept.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically the way how we started our business, and that was 2015. And now when we talk about online sales, this is B2C, which means business to consumer. So people are more willing to maybe just buy a bunch online because they get it delivered together with the grocery shopping, or they get it delivered together with Uber Eats, or they get it delivered because delivery is a big thing right now in COVID. People don't want to go out, They do not like go to a flower shop and like browse through flowers and say, I want a bunch of whatever XYZ. They just want to have the convenience and the security to know, okay, I get something delivered. And it's sort of it's COVID free, So, and I think because of the pressure that we are all in right now, people become more receptive to actually online shopping. If that would have not been the case, I think we would have needed another 5 to 7 years for this to actually like move into this direction. So we are happy because obviously that gives our clients an opportunity to make sales. It gives us the opportunity to buy in, and it brings happiness to the end clients. Although this is like really rather strictly like bunches and not event-based flowers at all.
Yeah, maybe to answer John's question, what he said about, or what he asked, if there is local flowers available. Yes, there is local flowers available again, but also our farm's struggling. We have lots of farms, they haven't made it through COVID, honestly. I know about one chrysanthemum farm which is not going to start again. We spoke with another chrysanthemum farm here. They lost over $1 million, so they really have to be very careful what they do. Some of the farms haven't started growing for the upcoming months, because we know that only in January, like significantly, the market will open again for events. So right now, everyone is just trying to move on as good as possible. We have protea growers that we support. We have lily growers that we support. We have smaller local farms for foliage that we also support. We put this all on our web shop. We also try to export their products as much as we can. So we try to help the local farmers in a way how we are possible.
Okay. This is really interesting, because from the one side, COVID gave the opportunity to try and test the online sales. So something that maybe wouldn't have happened a couple of years. Yeah. But on the other hand, it is, of course, a great threat for most of the parties. And what about generally the event florists? So how are they surviving this period? What is happening with them?
Yeah, adapt or die. You know, this is currently a very tough time, and my heart goes out actually to every event florist. I mean, you know, if you're doing something with passion and this was paying your bills, and right now, you know, due to governmental legislation and just the situation that people are thrown in, you cannot support your families. And they are, as I said before, I mean, those designers and floral designers and people who do floral decor for events or weddings, they are basically without any perspective. And there is a huge problem in uncertainty, in not only in this country, but I think in a lot of other countries where there's no clear communication from also government side as to when weddings or events are allowed to happen again. I mean, events now, corporate events are starting on a very, very small scale, but I mean, there's not much flowers now that are required for such thing. And I mean, the majority of flowers are used for weddings, and I mean, we have only right now, we have weddings for a couple plus 2 people who can sign for the registry, and that's it. And then you can have people like attending from your own household. So maybe if you're lucky, your parents or your siblings. But that's basically it. So it is very uncertain, and I think that makes it very difficult for anyone to plan. So that's why a lot of people are going out and trying bunches now, or trying something. I mean, I also know people who are just trying to survive and just do like anything basically to bring food to the table. Yeah. Someone who was repairing refrigerators, just doing something, because I mean, we nonetheless are in a rather comfortable situation, because we have the 2 businesses. We have the events and the flowers, although the flowers right now are not performing as good as they used to, but at least we have something else. For a lot of other people, they don't have a plan B, and they don't have like they have all their eggs in one basket basically, and that is a big problem.
Yeah, and we have done something what also comes now to help us to survive better. We have almost a couple of years back, we have seen that there is a huge demand of good quality flowers in other African countries. So I was very interested always to see how to get these flowers that those markets needed in a high professional way to the clients. Because I mean, like, when I can just say that flower trade in Africa, not in South Africa, but in Africa, is for the most of the Europeans is a shocking case, because coming from the Johannesburg market, going either in a suitcase or on in a box or on one of these overland taxis, and like a couple of days later they arrive. The problem is how they arrive, and that was always a question, but nobody questioned it that much to even make a change. So the problem was that it was just accepted that the half of the flowers maybe died during transport, and the other half arrived maybe in not so much good condition. So that was an accepted fact, and I could, as a European, maybe I just never understood that and never accept that. So we tried to make different plans to bring the flowers directly from the country of origins to our clients within Africa. For example, this week, we had a big shipment, some 100 kilogram, going from Holland directly to Congo. So we have managed a supply chain or a transport, a way of secure and safe transport to be within the cold chain. This is my main goal, to supply flowers within the cold chain. They arrive in a very good condition and properly packed at my client's doorstep, wherever this is in Africa. And it is challenging. It is we work with very different like problems here, with delays, with flight problems, with problems within administration, with things that in Europe maybe not so much common, but here in Africa, in certain countries, very common. That is a big challenge. But however, we have put this actually on our desk to deliver high quality flowers to Africa, and our vision is actually to become #1 in Africa to supply fine flowers.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is a really ambitious aim, and I mean, I really hope that you will achieve this. And despite all the difficulties, despite all the unpredictable things that are happening there in flower business, I really like the phrase at all that flowers are the ones that should make you happy, that should make your house look nice. And that's basically the aim of everything that is happening, of all the florists, the growers, the breeders. It's just to make people happy. And it's, of course, it's a pity that there are so many limitations currently, but yeah, I mean, I hope that if you are doing something with great passion, it will definitely work out. So I really wish you all the great with everything like that. And we've covered a bit digital.
You know, the most.
Yeah. So
I just want to say the most beautiful for us is when our clients come and say, please don't stop. We love your flowers. We need your flowers because they make us happy to create something special, what we have never done before. And I think that is driving us, right?
Yes. I mean, for a fact is that we have brought in a lot of varieties that people on the continent, not only in the country, have never seen before.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that people don't realize, still the impact that one can do. And I mean, that's why for us it's beautiful, because we can leave still footprints here where as if we would try to do that in Europe or any other Western part of the world, it's not possible simply. So there are a lot of people that come to us and say, you know what, for years and years we have seen the old same protea, and I'm not saying that a protea is not beautiful or indigenous or whatever the case may be that is locally available, but then they come and they say, you know what, I've seen stuff from you that just make.
Oops, we're probably having some connection issue. Let's see if we can fix it. I was just at the point to show some really nice pictures, so I will just start showing them, because we've started to speak about varieties and all the unique flowers that were brought by to the continent. So let's just hope that our connection will restore. Okay, let's see if we can connect. Okay, still checking the connection. Okay, so 1 minute, I hope. Well, while we are waiting for the connection to restore, maybe you, while watching this part of our interview, have some questions. Maybe something specific about South African market, maybe about event florists, or what to do if there are no events and you're an event florist, you know. So there could be probably tons of interesting things that we can find out. Okay, so I hope. Oh, great. So now we will have our connection back. Hello, welcome back.
Hello again.
Yes.
I'm sorry, somehow we got lost in the ocean.
Okay, it's fine. You know, we were speaking about the varieties and all the unique things you're bringing to the market that I decided, okay, it's just the perfect time to show some pictures. And then you dropped off. But you know, let's maybe use this opportunity. And while we were speaking about flowers and varieties and all the uniqueness you're bringing, let's just see some examples of wonderful things you're doing. So I will start actually with the picture of you, because I'm thinking that it is such a great representation of things that, you know, when you love doing something, it's so visible. I mean, it's just here. So let's just look through, and maybe you have, you know, some comments or maybe memories from the things where it was taken. So for example, this one. So what was, maybe there is an interesting story connected to this picture, because when I saw it, I thought just, wow, it looks so unique, so uncommon for our market, so beautiful, so full of flowers and this unique culture. So what's happening?
To say that it's not in South Africa.
Yeah, this is in Dubai, but also maybe this is part of our business, that we had to create our own demand. So that's why we started to think like how we can do that. The one way is to cross-market our flowers that we are selling within the event company, to use like unique or different or lots of flowers for our own events, to show the pictures, what can be done with those flowers, to create the demand of these flowers. Because when people see what can be done, it is easy. We are very visual people in our industry. You know, we need to see what can be created, can be done. And this one here in particular, it was a very interesting wedding. It was a destination wedding in Dubai that we have done. We do destination weddings as well. And the bride was very, very much a big fan of the desert, right? She wanted, like, maybe you can tell a little bit more about the background, but she wanted to have something very special. And this was the day after the wedding where we said, okay, we take all these beautiful flowers just to the desert. And it was an absolutely windy day. And I still remember one of these big vases actually break. So that's why we only have one vase on the picture. Yeah, this is behind the scene.
Yeah, no, we have still a functional office in Dubai actually for event planning. So we have a lot of destination couples, also from South Africa, but also from Europe, who obviously, fancy Dubai. It's a great place for weddings as well. ball, because it's such a contrast that you can find there. But obviously the flowers that we also import into South Africa, we also use like wherever we are and wherever we do weddings and events.
Okay, and how hard it was actually to to store flowers under such conditions? I mean, flowers in the desert. Who could have imagined? How did you do that?
It was
Don't ask.
not in summer. The wedding was not a summer wedding,
but it was very like tough weather condition.
It is, and the wind, the wind. You can just like, I mean, imagine that once you put the flowers down there, the sand will like very quickly cover the flowers. So you need to be quick, and you need to have a very good photographer. And we had a South African, originally South African photographer who lives now in the Netherlands, Brett Florence, with us, and he did the magic.
Okay, I mean, well, for me it looks really like a magic. It's very, very nice. I mean, I remember I've been also in Dubai, and I remember how I was astonished by this contrast of technology and nature, and I mean, really uneasy conditions to live in, and I mean, to create something such beautiful, it is extremely great. And then if we are looking at
we try to stretch the boundaries.
Right. I mean, you definitely do this. I also thought about this image, because I mean, it's also a way to present flowers in such a different way. Again, it's the beach, the sea, and then you see this contrast. I mean, it's unique. So what was the idea behind this one?
I have sometimes, people say I'm the one with the butterflies in mind. So I have sometimes crazy ideas, and we work with a lot of like very, very amazing photographer here in our country for the weddings. And there's one photographer here, for example, that's Daniel West. He is actually an award-winning photographer, and he said one day to me, I love to do a photo shoot with you. Don't you want to do something with me? And I said, oh, I would love, because I like his pictures. And this exactly picture was taken directly in front of our house. This is actually just like a stone throw away from our office here. And we had the idea, we wanted to bring a black model to the shoot, and because we wanted to offer this to a magazine for brides of color. So our initial model actually one day before the shoot canceled the session, so we had to find a lady which is colored and is suitable to do something. So we used actually somebody that has never modeled before, and she did this absolutely perfect. And this dress is one of our most well-known designer, Gert Johan Coetzee in South Africa. And if you want to know about the behind-the-scene information of this shoot, I love the dress that was worn by one of the TV ladies. And I said, if we can get this dress, that would be amazing to make something very special. And the model is actually standing on a ladder, so on a step ladder, to make her stand out. And we had from the shoot that we did the day before, because we shooted for 3 days, we had lots of short trousers, and I said I wanted maybe to put all this around on the dress to enlarge, and so
she got a train. Yeah.
Okay.
So we try to obviously combine. I mean, flowers are not just flowers that you maybe just like see. Well, we see flowers as part of a creative process, because we also have people here in the country and on the continent who use the flowers to just express creativity. Because we are largely working with event designers. I mean, as we said before, there are no, I would say 85% 5% of the people that we're dealing with, event and wedding designers. So the people like here in the country, they need something different than people who are florists and have or own a flower shop. And this is how we create a certain demand, by just like really showing people what can be done.
They need to be attracted.
They need to visually really see something that makes their heart beat faster and say, wow.
Okay.
And in particular, people work with huge amount of flowers. Maybe that was also some of your first questions. What is the difference of weddings here and maybe European weddings? We used to have a wedding venue. We still have it actually in Germany. And that's why I know like European weddings are more petite, are more like how can I say, like not so much show let me explain it like that. And more, you have like small little arrangements on the table. You have a round bouquet. That's what it is. Here in Africa, people show off. That's what it is. And there's huge installations. There's hanging installations. There's table arrangements that like fall down to the floor. There's overboarding bouquets. That's something completely different, because also people celebrate like in larger numbers. So we had yesterday on our own chat a wedding planner and a florist from Kenya, and when they say small intimate weddings, they mean like how many people?
It's around 400 intimate.
So that's the minimum possible number, right?
Well, no, that's a normal. That's a normal. Intimate 200. Like from 200 to 300.
Yeah, that's yeah. So then you can maybe also get an idea like what the type of weddings like it is compared to a European wedding.
Okay, I mean, this is really incredible for me, because I guess for European market, I mean, 200 is not normal. It's higher than normal, probably. So that's why it needs more flowers, more uniqueness, and more something different. And basically, this means that you are also one step forward, because you are not only offering unique flowers, you need to show what you can do with them. And I mean, when I heard this phrase, I thought, oh, that's where we are in common with Flower Circus, probably, because that's also the aim, to show what actually you can do with flowers. What are the endless possibilities? What are some of the inspiration and education and design variation that could be there? Yeah. And I mean, that's such a great thing that you can look at it at a different angle. So for me, it's really incredible. And
we always say we have to burn the candle from two sides. We have to at one point create our own demand, and we have at the other point to educate our clients. That's why, and Kirsten, I see Kirsten is here. She was attending one of our workshops. We tried to bring in international designers to South Africa to educate our own like industry, people in our industry, because people here, and maybe this is also a huge difference to Europe, a florist here can become a florist overnight, even a master. You can become a master florist overnight, because there's no education needed. There's no requirement to become a florist other than in Europe.
That is also something new for me. By the way, we talked about Kirsten, and I saw that there also was a question, so maybe we can come back to the flower demand and also cover this one.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever you like to ask us. I mean, I don't want to interfere too much. Just ask me like what question we should answer.
Great. So here is also a question that I'm showing right now, that how are you responding to the growing demand for the cineroids, if I'm spelling this right?
Yeah. I mean, there is like the local demand. I think is still normal. I'm not so much like familiar right now if there is such a huge demand for export, because in the same way we are still struggling to get flights. That is actually the biggest problem. There is enough flowers maybe, but there is not enough flights, and that we can get and where we can get our flowers on. Just like today, I spent a couple of hours to find out how to bring flowers to Namibia from Holland, because there's still no direct flight before end of the August to bring flowers from Holland to Namibia.
Okay. Oh well, so it's really challenging all over the world. In some places more, in some places less, but definitely it is something that maybe also unites us, because if there wouldn't be such a situation, we wouldn't be holding this meeting even. And
that's right.
We wouldn't have such a possibility to interview you. So there's definitely a bright side over there. And yeah, while we are speaking about flowers, growing demand in weddings, I also thought about this picture, because for me it was full of emotions and showing probably a really special moment. And again, I just noticed that a lot of really white flowers. The previous picture in the desert full of white, and here it's also full of white. Is this a kind of the classy way of doing it, or what can you tell about flower varieties that are at the weddings? Maybe different countries, different colors over there. So, what are the traditions?
Yeah, I think, for the first part, this picture, just for the emotions,
this is a very special
picture. Very special picture, because again, we tried to do unique things on the flower side, but also on the event side. So we were the first company who actually managed to get a flying veil running in Africa. That was a trend that came from Asia, from China and from Asia, that there is a veil coming on a special structure flying towards the bride, and then obviously like landing on her head, and she's walking down the aisle. So that was just a moment when we were sweating a lot, because
that was the first time that this was happening,
and it was successful. But then for the flowers itself, for the colors, I think we are very Western in a way that I think for every florist, they hear the word blush or white when they speak to a bride, because that is like in 80% of the cases the color theme that they are looking for. So yes, traditional white wedding is a lot of whites, a lot of pastels, creams, a lot of light color flowers. I think, sadly enough, there are not a lot of brides who are brave enough to really go bold and colorful, or go for really happy happy colors, like oranges, yellows.
We had, just like the last wedding before COVID shut down, we had a very brave bride from Dubai. She chose mustard and teal, and it was incredible.
Yes.
There's two colors together, very rich and absolutely amazing.
Very warm also, but it's not the majority, unfortunately, because it makes, for a designer, I think, it just so much more excitement if you have a bride. But there are a lot of style shoots that are colorful and that really incorporate a lot of colors. But sadly, couples, mostly they want to play safe and they want to go for whites and pastels. That is still the case.
Okay. It's really interesting, because sometimes you think that being in a different continent means that people are walking on their heads, so to say. But at the same time, we are having really similar traditions. Like the wedding is white, and it's just classic. That's the way of doing it.
There's actually two types of weddings. We have in the Black communities, we have a traditional wedding, which is traditional means in the culture, and we have a white wedding. In most of the cases, the couple have
white
actually
is,
two weddings.
Dress, maybe you need to say like white wedding is
because of the dress, because of the dress, the wedding dress. Because the traditional wedding is done in traditional dresses, so more in like how do you know in Europe, like African or Nigerian like dresses, the beautiful, colorful dresses from African women.
And there we also have more colors, but for white like weddings, which we mainly also do, this is it's more soft.
And this couple, for example, that was a couple of color, and they have chosen to have only one wedding, and they wanted to incorporate parts of the traditional wedding as well as parts of the white wedding, all in one event.
Okay. I mean, this
we have different areas for this wedding. I mean, now you see only the ceremony area, but we have different like parts. There was a big marquee for pre-drinks where we had like pampas and pinks and different,
very colorful,
different colors. And then we had a reception area, which again was just white.
Yeah, and we had even an area where we sticked in a couple of thousand roses because there was no roses actually growing.
Yeah, here you have ombre. I mean, this is color.
And as you can see here, that the trees are not growing in this venue, so we had actually brought in all the eucalyptus into the venue, and this is the type of weddings actually with a lot of floral arrangement and floral effort.
Right. And then also, I mean, I just showed the comment of Caroline that definitely for me this idea sounds interesting, that funding wedding shoots that are somehow different, for example, somehow have more colors or unexpected color flower varieties, or even unexpected shapes. I mean, it's really interesting idea. It probably just enlarges the opportunities you can actually use when designing a wedding.
Yes, I mean, you must just think that people usually buy what they see.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you can go on Pinterest these days and you find a million gazillion flowers or weddings with like white flowers, blush white weddings.
Yeah.
And this is what is the norm, I would call it. But if people don't see that one can tastefully, and I really stress like tastefully arrange different color combinations in a beautiful way, then people like, because not all brides and there's no judgment here, not all brides or couples see what a lot of designers see in their mind. So if one even says, okay, a designer says, like for example, mustard and teal works really very well together. And then you find a bride or a couple to say, you know what, I cannot imagine this, like how this is going to look like. But obviously, if you intend to bring in like different things, or if your idea as a designer is to just showcase different like combinations, you will also attract those clients.
Yeah, and exactly this bride here, I can actually say this bride has chosen us as planning and designing her wedding because of the picture that she has.
Oh. Okay. Seems like we have some problems with connection. Okay, and then now again we've stopped on the most interesting thing, why the bride has chosen to make such a wedding. I mean, I can't wait to hear the ending of the story. Let's check what is happening there. Yeah, let's hope we will be back soon. I'm investigating the case, so one moment. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, regarding this comment, I definitely agree. I can support this idea while we are waiting for the connection to restore. I can support this idea from the positions of graphic design, because that's something that I'm also doing, and I can tell that you can find as well. Designers are using Pinterest. You just go there, you type in, and you find designs that look nice, but they are all the same. I mean, and where there is the variety, the fresh view on the common things. So I mean, it's definitely important to work on something new, and to find new ideas and be able to present them in a nice way, both in the designer's eye and of course in the viewer's eye, because of course for each bride and for each wedding there is a special vision, and if you find this connection between the designer, the event planner, the bride, then it means that there will be something unforgettable for sure. Okay, so let's still we are still waiting for the connection to restore. Hope girls will join us really soon. Meanwhile, we can actually see some other pictures that are here. For me, this one was also like full of colors, really beautiful one. Loads of different things are happening there in terms of colors, but at the same time, I mean, it's so well accomplished. For me, it's something that I tend to look at flowers and later on think, how can I incorporate this in some digital things we are running, into design, into graphic design even, because flowers, they can give so many inspiration, and also they are like sharing the unexpected ways where you can arrange things. So right. So sometimes you focus on a shape, sometimes you focus on a color of a flower. It's probably really different. Okay, yeah. Definitely. Okay, let's I'm still checking if we can reconnect. Let's just put pictures, so at least we will have a feeling that they are with us and we can continue our conversation. Maybe meanwhile you while we were discussing so many things, like, you know, online sales, flower industry overall, doing selling flowers online, how to do events if you can't do them with flowers. If there are any specific questions you're interested in, feel free to answer. So once we will be back, we can get some new interesting stories. Personally, with for example, what I can speak about is definitely doing e-commerce and selling flowers online. Oh, actually, with photos, I guess it's possible to maybe add them in comments, or you may, for example, send a link so I can share it live in a broadcast. So let's find the ways out. I guess the link should work the best. So generally speaking, we've just we were speaking about the online sales, and for example, comparing South Africa and Europe or United States, I've been doing e-commerce and sales for United States, and I thought, oh gosh, it's so popular there. I mean, at first it seemed that you don't need to do anything, simply open your store, add the products, let's say flowers in this case, and you're ready to go. But some time have passed, and the market became overcrowded, overpopulated with so many stores, with ads, with I mean, bigger demand grows the offering, of course, and that's why it's so hard. But later on, we are seeing now in this conversation that in South Africa, doing sales online was uncommon at all, unless there were some unexpected situations like COVID. And for me, frankly speaking, it's also very interesting to understand how different markets are working at a totally different rules. So I guess sometimes we can say that one market, let's say United States, could learn from South Africa doing maybe sales offline or doing unique events, or for example doing weddings, doing colorful weddings, doing weddings in the deserts. I mean, it's interesting. And at the same time, South Africa was put into a situation where total new technologies should have been introduced to the market in order to survive. For example, imagine that there wouldn't be such a possibility to sell flowers online even right now. What could happen to all the growers, to local growers over there? So I guess technologies are something that could influence market in unpredicted ways. For example, flower industry and technology. On one hand, it's so far away. On the other hand, we can tell that technologies are something that drive the better flower production, better flower quality overall. But on the other hand, technology is helping to not only grow flowers, but also communicate their uniqueness to the end user. And it could be either the wedding, even any B2C local user that just wants a bunch of nice flowers at his house, or the B2B one. It's okay. So here is what I heard from Elfi, that they have cut off the electricity and they have no possibility to join us, unfortunately. In any way, I think it was a really fruitful discussion, and we've been able to cover so much. For me, it's a great pity, because I thought we will have a possibility to hear so many things. At least I can end our broadcast with saying a couple of words about Yes Exclusive Flowers and a set of interviews that they have been running. By the way, I will share my screen. They have been doing the piece of a puzzle interviews that I just wanted to share quickly with you. They have been doing loads of different videos. But what was interesting for me that Yes Exclusive Flowers were also running a video with John from Flower Circus, and I thought, okay, so that's another thing where we are in common, and that we are doing some similar but yet so different things, educating and inspiring people. And for me, as the social media expert here, while I was reviewing all the wonderful work that Yes Exclusive Flowers have done on their social media, I was inspired because they were doing so many incredible things, so many videos, and I mean, great stuff that was there. So I think that's just a great time to end our broadcast. I was really happy to be here, and I guess we had, it was a feeling that we had to travel to South Africa, and now it's time to return. In any case, you will have the possibility to view this video later and ask all your questions in comments. I'm more than sure that you will receive great answers in your stories. And meanwhile, we will be back here with another Flower Circus Talks next Friday, probably with John. But maybe there will be sooner or later another special edition with Ladies' Night. So yeah, stay tuned. Visit Flower Circus and Yes Exclusive Flowers, and have a great day. It was a great pleasure to be here with you. Bye.